Good morning, everyone. So yesterday I took the little cuttings, rootings out of the different toques that I had them in and went through all of them, and those that were rooted I put in toques on the soil moist gel, and I have 3 toques like that of some that are still trying to root. But I had like I said, I've experimented with a number of things now, and I had good luck in rooting with the perlite here, putting the grow blocks with the azos on the perlite, but I just couldn't tell when they were rooted. And the way they had done, some of them rooted into the block next to them. Because I hadn't spaced those, I kept a lot of the sleeves of the grow blocks together, and so anyway, it was kind of a tedious task dividing them up, and that's not something I'm going to do again. Like I said, I've kept trying. And the bottom toque there, that was the one that I did back in April. I'd started and I just kept moving all the ones that hadn't rooted whenever the majority in a box had, and I separated them out. I'd put the others in that box, and so I redid it yesterday, and I have one toque now that has around 60 in it, and I'll wait and see. I give them this chance whenever when the stem turns brown, then I'll give up on it. This morning I had started off, I had a neighbor come down the other day, Saturday, and help me bust all of the wood, and you may have noticed the log splitter wasn't under the awning there, and that's because it's back to my neighbor that owns it. Got it back to his house, and he had split some wood from another neighbor. And anyway, I'm trying to get this cleaned up. I had moved a bunch, and I was trying to there was frogs all in it, and I hate to hurt anything and let them hold me up, which I wasn't really hurting myself anyway. I had already done that Saturday and rolling those big pieces up. I feel very comfortable with what I have loaded in the bin now. Each one of these, there's 4 bays, and each bay holds a cord of wood. And so with what I've got here now, I feel fairly comfortable that I'll stay warm again this winter. And still got some more there's still a number of big blocks over there that are too big to move, that I'm going to have to cut some and bust some before I can even get them on the splitter. But the good oak, and there's some of that up in there is maple. This is pine from 2 different trees, and one of them is old tree that had got lightning struck time and time again, and it finally died, and so it has a lot of fat lighter in it, and so it'll make me a hot fire. I don't really like pine that much. It doesn't build a bed of ash, but it's good in cooking and just knocking the chill out of the house in the morning or something of that nature. And as hard as it's been for me to fill my bins, I'll take anything I can get here lately. And I wanted to show off these shrooms here. Those little orange ones are so pretty to me. And this is the only spot up in here that I've ever seen them. Anyway, they go around. They was a year or so back, there was a big ring of them that you could actually see the fairy ring up in here. And I guess with me mowing and spreading the spores and all, they have quit forming a very distinctive ring, and they're just everywhere, right up, but still just up in this area. Have all kind of shrooms coming up, and that's a wild black cherry there that is destined to be cut, and I say I'm gonna skin it for the bark to make black cherry tea one day. My camellias are just loaded with seed, or a few of them are. This is one that has always produced numerous seeds, and this is the one that has the peppermint variegated flowers, and is one of the only ones that I've gotten a plant from seed that has flowered, and it was peppermint. And so I'm very tickled that this one is doing so well. And this is one of the red hibiscus that I had rooted, and one of the few that I've gotten planted out in the yard this year. My scuppernons are really loaded. The ones in the back, the deers are having a time with, and I don't know how much I'll actually get off of them, but these are coming along, and a few are starting to ripen up, and I do love them. I can stand out here and eat a belly full. But this was part of my doings in years past, and all that I try to put everything to use I could, whether it was just a fence row or planting the lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. Anyway, that right there is the lemongrass, the blades there, and then the bushes on over, those are the actual tea camellias, and the one right there has a couple of the seed pods on it that look like the ones of the camellia that I showed earlier. Shut up for a minute and eat my grapes. This is a variegated silverberry bush, and every so often it'll have fruits on it, but I very seldom ever get them because the birds get at them. I had fertilized this morning with the spray and grow on some of my hibiscus and my cratums, and I was waiting on it. You're supposed to give it about 2 hours before rain or watering or whatever, but watering yesterday I never did wash them enough to get the dirt where they had all turned over out here. But I just love the color on some of them. I don't know how well that's going to show up. Whenever they turned over, though, I had just potted up numbers of the little ones, and I think it was 7 that I've counted that were ruined from the big ones falling on them. I guess that's one of the, say, a consequence of using the big ones as a shade for the little ones. And not only a shade, having them clustered up that way, that helps keep the humidity up for all of them. My turmeric is looking very nice. I'm very pleased. And it's interesting to me that, you know, I know they're growing because some of the pots are being deformed. They're starting to be oval shaped, so the turmeric is developing. And these got broke a little bit, but the only ones that have set seed are the ones that I have actually taken my finger and gotten in here and gotten some of the pollen and put it on the, I don't remember the names, some of there's stamens or something like that, and a pistil something another or whatever, but those are the ones that I have actually transferred the pollen myself, are the only ones that have pollinated. And I have seen the bees and the bugs in them, but I reckon whenever they're that far removed in the flower pots, the right bug isn't pollinating them. These I'm hoping that I'll move a few more of these in the next few days. By next week, I'm going to have to start looking about taking some cuttings off of them or do something different with them. Like I said, that's 7 of the little ones in here that got messed up. But I guess I kind of need to get back out there and get back at it with the fire. Try to get a little bit more cleaned up out there. And then before it gets too hot, I've got to do my watering. So really nice fig. Blessings all.